With so much software and so many services available in the short-term rental industry these days, it's increasingly difficult to keep up to date with what's on the market and to determine whether it's a maybe or a must-have for you and your business. So meet one provider each week in a short interview, learning what they do and what they offer. So if you have around 20 minutes to spare, it could prove to be a very good investment to stick around. So let's see who and what is out there, one by one, with me, Deborah Larby, also known as the Guest Inspector. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Techsplained with the Guest Inspector. With talk of looming recessions and some debate about the future direction of bookings and revenue, it's great to know there are other ways to earn revenue from your property. We especially like the set and forget kind of earner. Today, my guest company does just that. And if you have it, you can rent it. Today, my guest is Maddie, who will explain to us how Mount can earn you more. Hello, Maddie. How are you?
Hi, Deborah. Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming along. It's really nice to have you. So, Maddie, we can jump straight into it. Can you tell me in one sentence, what does Mount do?
Yes, so Mount is the software platform that can essentially take anything you own other than your house. So it could be a bike, a scooter, golf clubs, kayaks, paddleboards, all the fun stuff. And we turn it into a rentable amenity. So your guest comes and can rent all of this stuff and you get the money.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll start from the very beginning. I'm a property manager and I'd like to use your service. What's the process? How do I start using your service?
Yeah, so the process, very easy. You go to our website, which is rentmount.com, and you'll see a button. There's two buttons, same thing. It says host login or list an amenity. So you click that and it basically takes you to create an account with us. So you input email, phone number, the normal stuff. And after that, you've created your account. So you're in there. If you have no idea what Mount is, there's a knowledge base within your account. So you can dive deep onto what amenities you should be listing, how much money you can make, all that type of stuff. If you already know what you're doing, there's an onboarding flow. So it'll walk you through what to do. You put in your property location, the one you want to start with, and then it'll prompt you to create an amenity. So that could be a bike, a scooter, golf cart, kind of just what I talked about. And you'll go through that process. Then it's set up and it's pretty much rentable from there.
Okay, but how does it work? So you're saying that there is the knowledge base. So you determine like whether it's a one-day fee or an hourly fee. Do I take a photograph? Is it like a property listing? You have to create a listing of the item with a photo and a description and then the price per hour or per day.
Exactly. Yeah, we kind of took the exact same flow you would have with a booking platform.
Yeah. Okay. So then how does it work? I've got my listing. I saw on your website there's something about QR codes. So then what happens? Let's say I've got a scooter. I've created a listing of a scooter. Then what's the process?
So yes, you have your listing. The last step is to order your QR code GPS tracker. So you can do that through the platform, figure out where you want to ship it to, and then it'll arrive in 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
And so that is a sticky adhesive. So you stick it on the physical scooter somewhere visible. And then also you need a lock. So you could buy a $5 cable lock on Amazon. Maybe you already have a lock on your garage. It could be something like that. And so that way you have the QR code on your scooter and it's locked. And that lock needs to be a digit. So it's like 4 digits, 5 digits. And you put that into the platform in your listing. It'll ask you for that.
Right.
And then it's set up. So then when your guest comes, they're using our app and they're scanning that QR code. And it'll ask them, what do you want to pay for this based on what you've put in? So if you put in an hourly price, a daily rate, a per stay, they'll choose. And then once they're renting, they actually get that unlock combination. So now they can unlock it and use it.
After they've paid on the app, they scan the code, they make the payment, and then they get the code to unlock the amenity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Now, just out of interest then, how does a QR code work as a GPS thing?
Yes, it's actually the reason we need an app. And it works the exact same way as if you were renting a scooter from the street. We came from that industry, so we took the same technology. So the tracker is actually working off of your phone. So it's pulling GPS coordinates that way. So your phone is connected to the Wi-Fi. That way we don't need to use all this complicated technology.
Right. So it's following the guest phone.
Exactly, because you're always with the amenity. So
okay, nice. Okay. So then let's say the guest is paid for a day and then they bring the scooter back. And how does it work then? Okay, two questions out of this then. How does it work in terms of payment? When they pay on the app, does that money go to you and then it gets siphoned to me after you've taken a cut, or does that money come to me automatically?
Automatically. Mount is the merchant of record, so we handle all your taxes and all that stuff, make it very easy.
Okay.
But no, you get 100% of your revenue. So if you set the price at $10 an hour, that is getting sent back to you.
Okay, nice. We'll come back to pricing towards the end anyway. Now, okay, a couple of questions about, okay, so let's say they just book it for a day and they bring it back, but they don't lock it. Can they use it again?
No, so the way the app works is when they bring it back, you have essentially an invisible fence around the parking spot or the location of the amenity. So they have to bring it back there. And then in the app, they click end rental, and it won't allow you to click it unless you're in that invisible fence. So you click end rental, you then have to lock it back up and you have to take a few photos. That's how we verify you didn't damage it. It came back, you locked it back up. And then they can theoretically rent it again if they want.
Right. Okay. Now you've touched on damage. Now you offer an insurance. How does that work then? Is that part of the subscription model that it's already built in?
Exactly. Yeah. So our insurance policy, actually, it covers injury liability, because that's the bigger risk here.
Yeah.
Is if someone rents your scooter, your property insurance will cover the damage to the scooter and any injury that happens at your property. Like if it just fell over. But the immediate instant your guest takes that scooter and leaves your property boundary, you are not covered anymore. And I think that's a piece of the industry no one really knows about, because it's a gray area. So that's what our policy is stepping in to do. You become additionally insured. It's Mount's policy. You get basically an umbrella under us. And if your guest happens to hurt themselves when they're out and on the scooter, and it wasn't their reckless driving, it wasn't them using under the influence, like all of that stuff, then that injury is covered by the policy.
Excellent. Because I was going to say, who covers the guest? Great. So I suppose if it's your content, it's covered on your own insurance anyway, that someone's using it and damaged.
Exactly. And then, the way we deal with damage is they do agree to a terms and conditions rental sheet, which covers damage, lost property, all of that stuff. So because we have their credit card on file, if they do happen to damage it, we can figure out the monetary value and charge their card.
Okay. Now, one thing is, have you had instances where someone is renting something from their neighbor? Like, let's say I don't have bikes, but my neighbor's got bikes, and can my guest rent from my neighbor? Or
Fantastic
down the street?
Question. That is where Mount is headed. So when you create your listing, you have an option. It can be listed as a private amenity or public. If it's public, anyone using the Mount app can come and rent it. They'll see it on our map when you open the app. You will make a lot more money that way. It does require a little more operational lift, because you have to make sure it's coming back and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Private amenities are more for specific to your guest if they're located inside the property and like a normal human could not access. Yeah.
There was one thing on your website that really caught my eye. And I know this is a bit silly as an amenity, but you had a picture of a coffee pot. Now, I'm a coffee addict, and I must say I travel with my coffee pot and coffee, actually. So how would that work in terms of a coffee pot? Like, I can understand a traveler traveling, they forget their coffee pot, or they forget their ear pods, or not their computer, but let's say their computer dies, because you've got a photograph of the computer too. So these can be also things that you don't have on the property that you can bring to the guest if they need it, to rent it?
No, so they would actually live on property as well. And we call them amenity boxes. So it's a clear kind of aesthetically pleasing lockbox, and you can put stuff in there, and it works the same way. It has that combination, the QR code. So that is how most things work. What we've had hosts do, because they do ask us, like, how do you make sure your guest does not feel nickel and dimed? Because, it would be a shame to show up and have the coffee cost $10.
Yeah.
Our kind of party line is that you should put in all the kind of baseline items that are not luxury, not really that fancy. Take a normal coffee pot, for example. You could also put a fancy Nespresso right next to it and have that be the upsell, so that
Yes.
your guest feels like they're getting the, what they paid for. And then if they do want something nicer, they can opt in for it.
Yeah, because that was going to be another question about, there's a fine line between an amenity and an upsell. So yeah, I think that's fair to have your standard amenities, but to have the next level up as something that you can upsell and have it there.
Yeah, I mean, a great example someone gave me the other day was offering a normal propane tank grill, but then also putting in like a green egg smoker, which is a fancy piece of equipment that probably only a few people would upsell, like opt in for it. But the ones that would actually know how to use it. And then, you can buy something fancier for your property and pay it back in some amount.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds great. So, okay, we'll just move on to the next question because I'm jumping ahead of myself. So what is your unique selling point?
I mean, I think Mount's unique selling point is the fact that these upsells are able to happen self-service. Because I think, what's happening in our industry right now is people do want to upsell. They want these amenities, but managing them is really challenging. And there's no really software solution out there that allows you to do it without being physically present. Like right now, if a guest requested a bike from you, you'd have to go deliver it and then probably ask for their Venmo or go through a booking platform, something cumbersome. There is an instance, I think, where you could hide it and then give the guest access to it. But again, it's a trust system that doesn't really work well. So that is Mount's competitive edge is, put these in there, make them rentable to your guests, the general public, bring in all this extra revenue like hotels. Upwards of 30%. Yeah.
Yeah. Just out of interest then, also with your knowledge base, do you explain how to lock away a paddleboard?
We do. Yes. We have a lot of video content on this different stuff because Mount is so unique. I mean, this has not been done before.
Yes.
So yeah, you'll find all of it in there. We have recommendations based on your property type, guest type, like all of this different, because we have a ton of data on what people want. So
yeah, excellent. Now, I know you have an app and I know the guest has to download an app, but is there any way, is it at all branded? Like, let's say, Deborah Labby Holiday House has a bike. On the app, does it say Deborah Labby Holiday House bike? Can it be branded? Does. Can I have my logo on there?
You can, yeah. So you can put in your logo, in your description, in your name. So everyone knows it's yours.
Okay, lovely. And I do like the idea of, selling the neighbors amenities as well. splitting the money or the funds with them. That sounds good. I like that idea.
Yeah, if you're on a block of short-term rentals, might as well capitalize on all the travelers.
Absolutely. Yeah. So who is your target audience? I suppose just even one person with one property.
Yeah, it could honestly be anyone that has a property. Right now, we're only live in the United States. But as you are able to sign up, you can tell us where you're from. And if we get enough people from, let's call it Spain, we'll go open that country. So yeah, anyone can sign up.
Yeah. Now, so you actually don't need to be integrated with anyone. This is a completely standalone piece of software that someone, a property manager, signs up for. I've got my PMS. They're sending all the automated emails, la, 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 la. But once the guest arrives, or actually you could tell them you can even suggest them they look ahead and see what you've got to offer anyway. Okay, great. Yeah.
And we do work with a few property management softwares just to make your life easier. So the way the integration works is when you create your Mount account, if we're compatible with your property management software, you can click it and it basically will just import your property data, location, address stuff. So you don't have to go redo it. Okay. But other than that, you really don't need to run it through a property management software.
Yeah. So the thing is, you can prepare the guest to let them know what amenities you do have, but they can't pre-book it. They just book it on the spot with the QR code.
Yes, pre-booking is a feature on our roadmap, so that should be coming in the next few months.
Okay, lovely, great. And you said the current audience is currently the US.
Currently the US, and the sweet spot really is non-urban, but more of these vacation rental markets where there's either a beach, a mountain town, lakes, where people are coming and want fun stuff to do.
Yeah, and don't want to schlep all the equipment along with them.
Well, exactly. Yeah, taking a kayak on a plane seems outrageous.
Yeah. Okay, now the big question is, how much does it cost?
So yeah, as I alluded to earlier, you get to keep 100% of your revenue and you dictate your pricing. We'll step in and, let you know if you overpriced it, but it is ultimately up to you. And what we charge is a SaaS fee. We are charging $15 a month per amenity. And really the reason behind that is, one, you get the software, but two, you get our insurance policy, you get all these extras that you otherwise would not be able to receive. And then what our software does is it upsells the amenity slightly. So the guest is paying a higher fee. So if you set it for 10, we'll upsell it for whatever our fee of the moment is, and the guest will pay that. There's no fee breakdown or anything like that, but that way we're making a little money from the traveler as well.
Okay. But the thing is, the traveler pays the property manager. Oh, no. They pay you. And then you forward the money. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. When you create your Mount account, you'll see you create a Stripe Connect account, and that allows us to direct deposit into your bank account.
Right. Okay. But if I charge $10, that's what I get. And plus $15 US a month per amenity.
Only when it's being used as well. So if your amenity is seasonal, you will not be paying anything if it doesn't get used.
Oh, great. Okay. And is there a contract? Do I have to sign a contract to use you? Or is it
no binding contract for time, but you do sign a host agreement that just says if you're listing a bike, something that needs maintenance, you will upkeep it. You're not listing something from the 1960s, all that type of user stuff.
Yeah.
You could list something from the 1960s as long as it's in great condition, but
yeah, record player. I saw a record player on your website.
Oh yeah,
right.
A projector is another good one. People love having movie nights, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's fantastic. Well, we've come to the end of the usual questions. Was there something that we didn't cover that we should know?
So I guess a good thing for you to know about Mount, because we are so new in the industry, is that we really are a community of Gen Z travelers. I'm Gen Z, that's the rest of the team. We're here making a product for ourselves because I needed it when I was traveling. So needless to say, that community is growing quickly, and that is Mount's focus. So if you work with Mount as a host, you get access to our entire traveler database. We advertise your properties to them. We have Mount travelers that actively seek out properties where our amenities are, because that's how they like to travel. So it's not just you're signing up and getting another software, you're getting really a community.
And how do they see that? Is this through the app? They can see other areas, or how do they see the other listings that have Mount amenities?
Yeah, so the map will populate with every single amenity that is public. You can check it out. Since it's linked to you, they can actually kind of go and check your direct booking and find you that way. And then additionally, a feature that we'll be launching soon on our website is, I don't know exactly what to call it, but a property amenity finder. So if you go on our website, you can either search by amenity type or property type, and it'll show you exactly who's working with us, and it takes you to their direct booking website.
So you got a lot of new features coming up soon.
We do. We're in growth mode right now.
Fantastic. That's really great. Well, Maddie, it's been a pleasure learning about Mount. And if you have any questions for Maddie or Mount, pop them in the comments below. I'll put the link in the description below. Thank you very much for your time. It's been really great learning about Mount.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Bye. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to catch up on ones you've missed, just head to the Techsplained or if you're short for time, you can head to thetechminis.com, where you'll find extra short interviews. See you next time.